Welcome, everybody. What we're going to discuss today is how you can modernize your workflows using an on-premise cloud. So everybody's familiar with off-premise cloud, AWS, GCP, and the like. Nutanix is an on-prem cloud, allows you to give you that same look, feel, and functionality of the off-prem cloud on-prem. All right. So what we found in your environments right now is that there's a few problems in terms of the broadcast workspace. Right. So number one, traditional broadcast environments use siloed physical appliances. So whether it's everts or everts or Avid or something like that, they're all physical appliances in the environment. So how do you manage, modernize those? How do you upgrade those, as well as keep your disaster recovery friendly environment going as well? All right. The broadcast apps are all appliance-driven, legacy cable plans, so how do you simplify all that? So that's one of the things Nutanix brings to the environment, is how you can simplify to make things easier. So a lot of people are moving to the public cloud. And the public cloud is great for simplifying how you can get things out there in terms of your workloads, get them up and running as quickly as possible. But there are inherent problems with that as well in terms of security and the like, all right? So with Google, AWS, and Azure, rapid time to market, you can bring up workflows nice and easily, all that's good stuff, but what do you want to do in case you want to do things on-prem, all right? So again, that's where Nutanix comes to the mix. So what we have is the way you can bring the cloud inside, right? So Nutanix allows you to do a couple things. Number one, it's all software-defined everything. So what we're trying to do is abstract the infrastructure layer, that physicality I spoke of before, from the actual application in the environment. So all the normal editors and the like care about is just getting their workflows out there, doing their editing, making sure they can do whatever they want to quick and easy. So that's what we're bringing. So web scale engineering using off-the-shelf x86 type architectures in a shared platform allows you to run anything, anytime, anywhere within Nutanix, right? No single point failures as well. So if anything fails in your current environment now with maybe an Avid physical appliance stack, you have to make sure you have enough appliances to support that failure within your workload. That's not the case within Nutanix. So again, what we have is a bunch of physical appliances running in your data center. So 42U rack, we have a bunch of appliances, physical appliances in. What Nutanix does is take that and move it off into a physical environment as well, but it's an all shared environment. So we'll take those physical Avid appliances, those physical edit share appliances and the like, we will virtualize them and make them virtual machines within the Nutanix platform. So that gives you a couple of different benefits. Number one, flexibility. So you can run your applications anywhere that you would like, as well as scale. So if you need additional resources in the environment, it's just a matter of adding additional resources in. So as you can see here, we only have 3 servers in supporting the environment. If we needed 5, 8, 12 to support the workload we have, not a problem, just add them in. There's no downtime, it's just a couple clicks in the mouse. That all brings it into the environment and stretches out the resources that you need. Also in terms of disaster recovery, it makes things nice and simple as well. So the virtual machines that are running here can fail over from one machine to the other and keep everything running. Your users never know that things go down in your environment. If anything happens within maybe a rack or maybe even a full data center, we can actually replicate those workloads from your New York data center over to your Los Angeles data center seamlessly. Again, your users never know that the environment goes down, all right? It just moves from one side to the other seamlessly, all right? So again, if you're doing more of the physical appliances, there's the issue of how do I get my workflows to move from one side of the country to the other. With ours, that's not an issue. It just happens sort of magically, all right? We are what's called a hyper-converged environment. So we have, again, x86 machines that runs a hypervisor on top of that. Our hypervisor is completely agnostic. So if you wanted to run ESX, Hyper-V, if you want to KVM, not a problem. You can run it anywhere, any one of those hypervisors you like without an issue in our environment. Some of the competitors, you're stuck with just vSphere. We can run anything that you would like. And then as I mentioned before, on top of that, we have our VMs that run to make sure the environment is healthy, versatile, and agile. So to manage the environment, that's interesting. So to manage the environment, we have something called Prism. Prism is our single pane of glass, single GUI to manage the environment. So rather than having multiple VMs to do anything in terms of your orchestration or your redundancy or your failover opportunities, Prism will do all that for you. So there's no need to have more than one single pane of glass in the environment. So Prism will do everything from the initial buy, installation, configuration, and startup to deploying your VMs, deploying your virtual appliances in the environment, to managing the environment as well, configuration of new infrastructure or resiliency and the like, all the way down to troubleshooting as well. So one of the nice things that you'll see in a couple of slides I have coming up is the environment is, number one, self-healing, as also resources aware as well. So it'll detect how you're using your resources in your environment. It'll warn you maybe that you're running out of resources, so your avid environment may be in jeopardy of starting to fall on its face, so to speak. And it will warn you that you need to add additional resources and give you the ability to self-remediate that for you. Upgrades are very simple within the Prism environment as well. So again, like I mentioned, if we wanted to go from, say you're running your Nutanix environment for the last 3 years, you're running older hardware, you want to upgrade to the brand new infrastructure. Typically what happens in older or competitors, you'll have to forklift upgrades. So start up a brand new environment, shift everything from one environment to the other, and then tear down the environment that you had. With ours, it's a matter of just taking those new pieces of hardware, adding those nodes into our infrastructure. Everything was sort of self-balanced across that new hardware from the old hardware, and then as time goes on, you can actually retire the old hardware by just a quick click of the mouse, say remove from the environment, and that comes out. So it's a quick, seamless upgrade going from older environments, older infrastructure, to newer infrastructure. Scaling, nice and simple. Again, as time goes on, you need more resources, add new nodes to the environment, everything will self-level across the environment, and you can scale up to whatever you want within the infrastructure. So this is a couple of looks as far as what Prism itself looks like. So number one, Prism, let me go back one slide here. So Prism gives you full metrics of what's going on in the environment. Again, single pane of glass. No need to have additional VMs, additional tools to monitor your environment. So it'll show you what's going on in terms of performance in the environment and the sort of issues that are going on within your environment, and also give you tools to do other things in terms of resource scheduling, also resource expansion as well. So another slide here is giving more information in terms of individual VMs that are running out there. So we have our migrate VMs and dedupe VMs. We also have our avid VMs that are out there, edit share VMs, whatever your applications are running out there. This will show you what's going on with those VMs and give you real-time information in terms of what to do to remediate any sort of bottlenecks that may be in the environment. So one of the really nice things I wanted to sort of skip through is we have something called a runway. So this runway looks at your resources over time that's being used within the Nutanix environment. It understands what resources have been used and where you're going in the future. So it'll understand, as you can see here, in 9 weeks, you're going to run out of storage. So as you start to run out of storage, it'll say, hey, look, you have a possible bottleneck here, a possible issue. Now's the time to go talk to your Nutanix rep, see if you can get additional hardware in here so that way you don't have those resources or hit that wall of running out of resources. And you can see it will not only do this for storage, but CPU and memory in the environment. So this over time will show you what you're doing and where you're going in the future. We have an end-to-end visualization of networking as well. So one of the big things in the environments moving forward, especially in the broadcast environment, is moving from traditional sort of coaxial copper and the like to more of an IP-based infrastructure. This will show you what is connected from point A to point B and give you an understanding of how you can mitigate any sort of issues within the environment. So any sort of IP intrusions, any sort of denial of service attacks, things like that, security in general, this will allow you to control what's in the environment and how to make sure it's locked down so your applications can run easily and your workflows run as efficiently as possible. Okay, spinning wheel of death. Give me a second, please. Okay. So this slide here gives you sort of the journey that Nutanix brings the customer through. So we start off with the Nutanix core. And the Nutanix core is what I've spoken about up until now. So it's the underlying hyperconverged infrastructure that allows you to run your workflows on top of in a virtualized environment, okay? On top of that, we also can bolt on additional functionality so you can do certain things like full application lifecycle management. So you can have full orchestration so that, again, those avids of the world that you may want to get into the environment, you can basically have a user go through a self-service portal, click with the mouse and say, I need an additional 5 avid machines out there. It'll go out there, provision those machines, bring it into that avid cluster, and all those resources up and running. No need to get any sort of administrators involved, any sort of additional more higher level technical people involved, it could all be done from a normal user requesting those resources. Files is a work group type file collaboration system. So if we have some smaller end media files that are out there, you can use files to store that. So rather than going to like the Nutanix apps of the world, you can have that store your files and have collaboration between multiple users within the environment through files. And flow is what I spoke of before. So flows are networking, software-defined networking options, so that way you can have full security control over your environment. So make sure applications that need to talk to each other can, applications that don't need to talk to each other don't, and any sort of intrusions that may come into your environment don't happen. So it keeps your environment secure. On top of that, we can also bolt on additional applications to do anything else that you may want to do in the environment. So Xi Beam, for instance. So we have a public cloud offering called Xi. Xi Beam allows us to not only monitor what we're doing locally within our on-prem cloud, but also the off-prem cloud as well, and give you real financial analytics as far as what you're using on either side. So if you have an environment running within AWS, it will find out what's running out there. If something's not running as efficiently out there that it could, it will give you real-time analytics as far as what you can do to make it more efficient, save yourself some money, and also remediate those changes if you're out there. Maybe you're using too much CPU or too much disk out there. It allows you to remediate those functions and bring it back under control. If we find that it's running too expensively out on the cloud and you're better running on the on-prem, Xi Beam will give you those recommendations as well and gives you the way to move it from one side to the other. Now, to move it from one side to the other, we have something called Xi Leap down here that allows the on-prem and off-prem clouds to be hybrid. So you can actually have workloads or workflows that you can run off-prem, and then if you need to, immediately blast it up to the off-prem clouds to run up there, and if you need to bring it back down, you can. So that's one of the things we have over a lot of our other competitors. The competitors can move things up to things like Azure, Microsoft sitting behind us here, but it doesn't give you the tools to bring it back on-prem, and we do with Xi Leap, all right? A couple other things we can have here. Buckets is our S3 offering, so that's our way that we can share our environment with Cloudian. So we can have all the processing happen within our environment, within the Nutanix environment. All those media files that you create within Nutanix, you then, via S3, you can tier down to Cloudian for the long-term storage of those data files, all right? IoT allows us to do Internet of Things, so you have any sort of devices that you have out there, allows you to do external connections to your platform internally through Xi IoT. So any questions so far? Okay, I know I went through that pretty quickly there. But hopefully this gave you a good understanding or sort of an underlying offering of what Nutanix can bring to the environment. So one of the things, again, we wanted to do is to modernize your environment. So to bring you from a more siloed physical environment to a virtual environment, again, for that flexibility is out there, okay, or that you can have, all right? So thank you very much for your time.